everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at ya. And we're so glad that you're here, and we pray that you guys are blessed by what the Lord has to share tonight. And
little guys laughing at us.
Yeah, and we're just gonna be, I just feel like sharing kind of
we're just going to share some stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
the time that we're in currently.
Yeah.
And what God is speaking over us. And so we're going to get into that in just a second. But before we begin, as always, we want to give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give and support what God is doing in our lives right now. And so huge thank you to all of you. Also a huge thank you to everyone who continues to just support us by prayer. And it just really is amazing to know that people are lifting us up and our family up before the Lord in prayer. And so huge thank you to all of you. And and so if you would like to give, because we are support-based, we do have a PayPal link, a Cash App, and a Venmo below, and you can click any of those and give there.
Yeah.
So basically the last, I think you put out a couple of videos, but the last main video was about the blessing and promise, like Passover. And God he was saying, like, I'm passing over you with my blessing and my promise. And then we kind of came into this week. It's funny because I feel like it's been one of those weeks where you feel like it's been like a month long, but it's just been like 1 week. But at the same time, it went by really fast. I don't know how time works like that or why.
Perception on our mind. It's perception of time.
It works that way. But really this right before we came to kind of the end of Passover, it was actually last Saturday, so a week ago yesterday, Devin was really kind of feeling this sense of like, man, I feel like we're kind of in this between place, and he started particularly talking about when we got married in, we had to fly to Nevada because that's where we got married, and we left like a few days before the wedding to get there. And so it was kind of, we were in this in-between place, it's like, okay, we're not at the wedding, but we have a few days before the wedding. And so there was a lot of just, wedding prep, like parties, hanging out with family, those types of things going on.
Hair, nails.
Yeah, all of that. Like and so it was just kind of this between place where you're kind of celebrating what's getting ready to happen, but you're not there yet. And so he was feeling that on Saturday. I believe that was April 20.
Yeah, don't look to me for any of this stuff.
Ish, 7th, somewhere around there. Yeah, but then basically on the last day of, or then on Monday, so it was the 27th. So then Monday, April 29th, you again were getting the number 774.
Oh, the number 74. Yeah.
And that the Lord took him to Genesis 7:4. Did you want to talk about that at all, or I can just keep going?
You can just keep going.
All right, so Genesis 7:4, and it was basically where Noah and his family, it's like they had the 7 days between when the ark is finished and God has Noah and all the animals on the ark, but there were these 7 days where they just kind of waited, and then the rains came. And so that night you were just feeling like, man, this is confirmation of what God is talking about. And then basically from that point on, throughout this whole week has just been this idea of like being in the between place. And
not a literal 7 days.
No.
But it represents that space of time where you've literally done everything you need to do, and now you're in this in-between place where you're just waiting for the rain to fall. It kind of is reminiscent of the boat going off the waterfall. Were you going to talk about that?
No, you can.
Yeah, where it's like where we had this vision of us being in a boat, and we have all this support that's just supporting us on this river, and then just all of a sudden, there's this waterfall, and our boat goes off the waterfall, but it doesn't fall, it just keeps on sustaining. For some of you, this is old hat, but for those of you who don't know, this is a vision, and the boat just keeps floating, and it just floats on nothing. It's just in the air, and then it just keeps going, and then all of a sudden, at some point, bang, these wings come out from this boat, like there's 3 on each side. And of course we're floating and we're going, whoa, this is a miracle. And while that river represented like the people who supported our channel, the financial support that came in for our channel, and that really did happen. There was just a sudden drop off, you know. And of course a lot of YouTube channels, no matter what they're doing, even if their channels are monetized, they just suffer this sudden drop off. It's just like, it's like boy bands back when I was growing up. They were just the hottest thing, and literally next week no one cares. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just like boom. And so for them, that's like a drop off moment, you know. And so for us, that just happened, but we just kept being sustained. We kept being sustained by a very, very, very few people. Sometimes only 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter. God's like, see, I'm the one sustaining you. It's just, you got to look at it that way. And so that's kind of like that represents that in-between place as well, where we're just waiting for the wings. We're waiting for and the wings just represent the ability to fly, the provision, the financial provision we need to go and do everything that God is wanting us to do, which is going to be just another huge, massive miracle in and of itself, considering the vision and the dream and what God's called us to do for Him on earth as it is in heaven, you know? So. Yeah,
and so, but it's interesting because really in the month of April, the highlight was God was just like, you're suspended. I am upholding you. And then now we're just in this between time. And it really has been just like, wow, God, because basically at the end of March, literally like March 31st, like it was like God's like, okay, we're cutting things off. We're moving forward. You're going to be in a suspended place. And it was really cool because even tonight I was reading with my son. You're going to freak out
at first, but you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Yeah. I was actually reading with our son his children's Bible, and we were actually reading about Elijah and how he was fed by ravens at the brook, but when the brook dried up, then
God ordered him a Raven Dash.
Yeah.
They had a DoorDash. Elijah was served Raven Dash.
Yes. But then it was like
dad jokes.
He was then commanded by the Lord, hey, go to Zarephath. I have a widow there who will take care of you. And it said that the oil and the flour did not run out, and it remained until the time of the rain. And tonight it just really spoke to me because I felt like God was basically saying, like, I am going to suspend you. I'm going to hold you up in this position, and it is going to, you will be here until the rain comes, until the fulfillment of His word, which in the vision is the wings coming out.
Yeah.
And so obviously no idea how long that time frame is. In the vision it was just a brief second, but you know, a brief second to the Lord is totally different in our time than the Lord's time. But the idea though is still just be in awe of how God continues to uphold us, how God continues to sustain us in the position that He wants us to be in. And so it's kind of like, in a lot of ways, what we experienced. You know, it's like, okay, at the time we were living, I was in northern Kentucky, you were in
you're going back to when we got married. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Southern Indiana, and then it was like, okay, we're gonna
Southeast Indiana. Yeah. Thank you very much. No, I was kidding.
and so then it was like, that was our lives at that time, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna go get married. So here we're leaving, right? You're leaving behind the old. That's kind of like that river, the channel that you were on. It's getting cut off. We're now flying over to go get married and in Nevada. And so it was just like, but we're in this in-between time of, okay. And it was, so today as I was doing the note
knowing
time,
that something amazing is getting ready to come and change your whole life. You're going to leave your whole life behind. The life you've lived up to this point, you're in the final days of it. And it's like, it's just going to be left behind. And when the wings come out on the boat, you're leaving that life behind. When the God closes up the door of the ark and the waters come down, that whole life is gone.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it was, so today as I was doing notes and I was just thinking about it, I was like, okay, what were the elements of the time? If we're saying this time that we're living in currently is similar to when we were in Nevada, but we hadn't gotten married yet, and it was just those few days prior to the wedding, what was it about? Like, what was it like? And like I said before, it was a time for family, for friends. There was some relaxing, there was fun, but there was also a few, you know, like those last minute details that need to get accomplished. But then also there's the rehearsal. And
like the wedding or the marriage certificate.
Yeah, we had to get get the marriage certificate.
Go downtown in the afternoon and just get that taken care of.
Yeah, get all of that.
And even that went really well.
Yeah, it was super
very
simple.
simple. I was just like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to be waiting forever for this because, you know, it was government based. So, you know.
No, but it was super simple. And it was just like, okay, let's rehearse. Let's run through some things. And so.
Something in my eye. Sorry, keep going.
Okay.
There was. There's like, you ever get those crusties?
Yeah.
And it just, it was just bothering me there.
Yeah.
I'm good. Everyone knows what crusties are. They usually show up in the morning, though, don't they? Anyway.
All right.
Anyway, so it was food, folks, and fun.
Yeah, so...
And marriage certificate.
Yeah, so basically, then, you know, that's kind of what that time was about. And as we've been going through this week, I'm like, wow, I feel like all those elements are here. All those elements, you know, just kind of, it's been a time still of resting, but doing fun things, you know, playing some family games and just kind of, I don't know, that atmosphere of like, hey, let's just hang out and have fun. And, but then also there's just, in a lot of ways, you think of like last minute things. It's like God also told us a long time ago, as far as dealing with just issues of the heart, he's like up to the last minute. And so even that, it's like there's still things that here and there pop up that God just
even
like...
tonight before the video.
Yeah.
I'm talking to one of my children. I was like, man, I don't want to do this. It's like, you better, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't want them to go to bed on all that stress and heaviness. Like, okay, come on. You're there to help them lift the load. Carry the load. You know, you don't want them carrying that all on their own because it's some heavy stuff they're dealing with. And it's like, okay. It's like when you dream of having a baby, you don't dream of waking up at 2 o'clock, 3:30, 4:30, 5. What? I just fed you a half hour ago. What you doing now? You know what I'm saying? You don't dream about all that stuff. You don't dream about, you know, going half crazy the first 8 weeks of the, you know what I'm saying? But it's like you do it because you're committed. It's a covenant relationship you've entered into between you and God and this child. And so that's what you got to do. You know, you don't get to schedule when you're going to have. It's not like psychiatry where you can schedule your appointments.
Yeah,
the Lord just shows up. It's like, oh, appointment time, ding ding, here we go.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm tired. And it's like, well, but you're awake, so come on, let's go.
Yeah.
You know.
And so so it's just kind of those last minute details, or, you know, maybe you forgot something or whatever. It's just like those things are going on, but then also the rehearsal, and that this week has been huge.
major dress rehearsal stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, God is going...
Which means you're close to the end. See? Want to talk about time frames? You know, you're definitely close to the end of the in-between time. Mm-hmm. If you're doing dress rehearsal, you're close to the end of something.
Yeah.
And you don't do dress rehearsal a week before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You usually do it the night before, right?
Yeah.
And then, so...
Yeah. But it's just the idea of God. I mean, really, this whole week, we've been going back and looking at, honestly, kind of order of events, like where God said, like, hey, these are the things that I'm going to do with you guys. This is what I have for you. We went back even to last year in May. We got... this whole thing from the Lord about this plate of food, and each item on the plate, it represented different dreams and visions that we have, and places that God has put upon our hearts to go to, praying over, all of that. And so again, literally last night, we were running through all of it and the verses in scripture that God has put with all of them. And then couple nights before that, God was just like, hey, we have, because God will speak like in parables, right? He'll have multiple parables to relate the same idea. And so we have quite a few different visions or words that have been spoken that all have to do with this marriage banquet time that God's talking about, and where
he steps in, changes our life, and this is what we do afterwards.
Yeah. And so God's just like, let's go through that. Let's see how they line up. Let's see which parts don't necessarily seem like they line up, but okay, they're
still a part of the
this
salad.
Is a part of everything that I'm doing. And so it's just been really awesome to see how God just like, let's bring this in, and then even diving more into certain areas. Like last night, we ended up talking a lot about, or at least I did, really in the morning and afternoon time. God was just really highlighting some of the different road trips and places that I really haven't thought about for a very long time. But I have documents with all these things on it, and it was like, hey, why don't you go back and just, let's look at this. Let's bring it back up and rehearse what I've put on your heart to do. And so throughout this whole week, that's what God's been doing. It's just been, let's rehearse. And so I'm just like, wow, we really are in that between time. And like I said, I don't know how long it will last, but it's just that sense of like, no, this is where you're at. You're in this between time, and I'm continuing to move. And it's been really interesting too, because as far as the idea of like family, friends, and things like that, like throughout this week, I've really noticed, particularly with my family, there's just been a lot more communication. And then also with some other friends that we have, there's just been more communication. And I'm like, it's one of those like, Lord, because as a sign and a symbol of where we're at.
The elements of that in-between time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and God tends to do that for us. Like, he brings in people, or, what we're doing tends to be signs and symbols of where we're at. And so that's kind of been this between place. But also,
even the name of this one lady is a sign. Like, her first and last name is like, wow, God was honest with that for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So let me show you this. Let me show you that. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So the right time, God, you just got to wait for God's right timing. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And so then also kind of during this time has also been a lot about really the last 2 weeks, because it was kind of this
yawn moment.
It was kind of woven into the Passover time, and was just at the beginning of it was actually April 21st. And so right before Passover started, the Lord really spoke to us and said, hey, keep feeding the animals. And then
right,
it was just like, he kept bringing up all these like, hey, remember this part of your dreams and this part of your dreaming, and like things that maybe you just, it's like you have it in your heart, but you're not constantly like going over it and that sort of thing.
It's in the crock pot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like and setting up for like 12 hours. You know? You haven't looked at it in like 4 hours or something.
Yeah, but that's a great picture. But it was almost like God's like, hey, open the lid and smell it and get that sense of, ooh, I can't wait to taste it. And then, okay, how about this one over here? Oh, yeah, that's looking good.
You see how much the water is separating from the stock? Come on, let's stir that up.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get that
going. Exactly. And so that was going on throughout the week, but then we ended up going to the zoo last Sunday.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was just like, wow.
The Lord never sends us to the zoo for no reason.
Yeah, because we haven't been in like...
long time.
5 months or something like that. And it was like...
since the fall or something, right?
Yeah, since November.
November, right.
And so it was just like...
It's always significant when we get to go to the zoo.
Yeah.
Always.
And so I felt like it was, again, pointing to God saying, hey, continue to feed the visions. Continue to be dreaming with me in this place, because I want you to be prepared when it's time to go.
Well, can I speak to that a little bit? Yeah, because for me, there was a time there where I was just like, Lord, I don't know how much more I can do. I don't know how many more, dream and vision related things I can look at. We've looked at all of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, we've looked at all of it, like constantly, all the time. It's just like, there's nothing new out there. You know what I mean? It's like, we know what it is. Are you ready? Are we ready? I mean, what more do you want us to do? And then that was during the time when the Lord was like, well, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, And so that's just kind of, and it's funny because you say all that, and then I think it was like that night, there were like these new things that were popping up. I was like, oh, that's new. Yeah. That's different. Oh, let's look at that. Different elements of the dreams and vision we have, which are not necessarily important for this video, but it's like you just got to keep revisiting it, keep looking at, keeping it fresh in your heart. It's almost like if you're a musician, it's like, yes, you know all the scales and all that stuff. That's great that you know all that. Keep practicing it. Keep doing it so that you stay fresh at it, So.
Yeah, and so it was very significant. Not only was it significant because it had to do with like keep things alive, but I felt like it was really significant because it is a reminder of the parade and this parade vision that we used to, God gave us a whole series of parade vision, and part of it was there was this fire truck that came and washed us all down, and all these bubbles, and it was representing like the Word of God washing us. And it was in September, and when we got that vision, it was like, this is the fulfillment of it. And basically we went to the zoo, and we had just gotten a zoo pass at the time, and we went and we began this going through Psalm 119. We went through the whole psalm. We did, because Psalm 119 is the whole alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, so there's 22 letters, and we were doing 2 letters every day. And it was this whole 11-day thing that we did with the Lord, and at the end of it, he was just like, that was the fulfillment of this vision, right? And of us being washed by the Word, and it was fun and exciting.
Oh, that was
bubbles.
The fulfillment of the fire truck vision. Gotcha.
Yes.
I was trying to connect what vision you were talking about. Think about that. 11 days, 22 words. Or 22 letters.
Yeah.
What's that make you think of?
11:22.
Which is Mark 11:22, which says,
have faith in God always.
Have faith in God always.
But that was also this stamp the seal on the wedding invitation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
another vision.
And you can, that was actually that last video, if you haven't seen it. We talked about all of the
That's true. 11, and that's like the fullness. Have faith for the fullness of everything God's put on our heart, which kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about God saying, no, keep feeding the visions, keep doing, keep believing, keep all of it, of it. Well, that, you know what, because that, interestingly enough, I talk about this, like keep feeding the visions and, oh God, there's nothing else. There's things that I have put away that I've been like, well, I guess that's just not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. According to my own understanding, I look at it and I go, well, that's just not going to happen because this, and this, and this. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Is that the dream? Is God the one who has encouraged you this? He brought you all this way just to show you something that's not worth having? He could have. I'm not saying he couldn't, but it's like, I don't think that's the case. You're judging it and ruling it out because it doesn't fit your own understanding. And so I've had to, even just tonight, I haven't even talked to you about it, I've had to just tonight just reopen the case and go, okay, well, what are you saying here? What do you want to do? And he's like, and I've really felt like the Lord's like, I want to see these things happen. Like, this is what you want to see. I want to see it happen too. And you've literally shut down the entire thing because you feel like you won't have time for it. And I'm like, wow, okay. So, after this video, I think me and the Lord are going to have some stuff to do. So,
and
it's the fluffy creatures. Remember the fluffy creatures?
Yes.
A lot of fluffy creatures, they require a lot of time, particularly certain ones. And I'm like, well, that's just not going to work, And I felt like the Lord was like, we need to reopen that file.
Yeah.
Literal animals we're talking about here. Literal animals. Because I want to have like a little fluffy creatures area. But all the little fluffy creatures I want are really high maintenance. And I'm like, okay, well, it's like God didn't bring you this far just to say, nope, these are all the things you shouldn't get into.
Yeah.
It's like, well, dang! It's 10:44. Oh my gosh. Go watch the video. It's got 10:44 right on the thumbnail. Wow. I mean, bro. I'm sitting here talking about rehashing things, rehashing the vision, and God's like, hey, I'm decreeing the reward. If don't say, oh, well, I don't need this part of the reward. Excuse me? Get that back on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and that's been a part of the whole animal aspect.
Wow, it's 10:44, bro.
Not only do I feel like it's significant in signaling the parade, but it's also significant in that Noah kept the animals in the ark and he kept them safe and he continued to feed them so they would be alive.
Faithful in the house of the Lord.
For the whole year and 10 days. And then when God opened the door, they were all able to go out and to be fruitful. God blessed them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And it's like, that's what God wants. He wants everything to come out, all the dreams and visions to come out. And one of the things that God brought up, I forget when he said it. It was a while ago, but I think it was last month sometime. It was basically making the emphasis that it's like both the big and the small. He's like, there are some really big dreams, and it's like, imagine they're like elephants. But then there's some really small things that could be small, like the creepy crawly things that are just, you might think that that's insignificant. There's this, oh, I'd really love to do that, but maybe you're just like, what does it matter? And God's like, no, I want all of it. If I put those dreams and visions in your heart, I want all of them to come out because I want all of them to be able to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. That's his heart. And so God was just continuing to bring that out, even tonight, talking about all of that.
For examples.
Yeah.
You might not, no one else might care about it, but you just happen to love kites. and you know so much about kites, and you have all these websites that you know about kites and custom kites and these kind of kites and different, and it's like you have this vision to have these, just a kite collection, and it's like, and you know how much money you would have to spend to have that kite collection, and God's been hammering on you about getting the religious spirit out of you about how much it's going to cost, and there's other worthy causes and all that stuff, and the bottom line is that God's like, I want to get you that kite collection. That would be such a fun time for us to have together. See, that's the thing, you're having this together with the Lord. He's not just giving you something just because you like it, and I mean, and that would be good enough, but he wants to enjoy it with you. He wants to be involved in the process. He wants to go get the stuff with you. He wants to be involved in the joy of it all, because him being involved is the joy of it all, Yeah. But then you also get to get your kite collection. You know what I'm saying? Totally random example.
Yeah.
Because it would seem like just, because a lot of times if other people don't have a passion for it, they might consider your passion not worth having passion for, And so they don't give it the same value that you give it. And a lot of people, they don't care about kites. But you do. And so God's like, and I care too. Come on, I'm with you.
Yeah.
If no one else is, I'm with you. That's just an example of like the little mousy vision, the little small thing that maybe you shouldn't even care about that stuff.
Yeah.
Get a big vision about the house of the Lord and prayer room. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's a worthy vision. But what about the other little stuff that's super important to you? It's important to the Lord too.
Yeah. Yeah, and so so there's that aspect of it, but also one of the other things that I was looking at is going back through the notes, and last night as I was looking at last year in May, I came across one of our God times, and it was actually the vision that Devin had gotten in regards to us being in this, we're standing on the sidewalk, and so this parade was happening. We were standing on the sidewalk and a parade is going down the street. But in this part of the vision, it literally starts off saying we were in the between place.
Oh, that's
where
right.
The
band had already gone by, and there's something else getting ready to come, but we were in the in-between place, just waiting to see whatever the next thing was. Oh man, that just hits me right now.
Well,
good Lord.
And what was coming was the limo. And so we were in this, we were literally standing in the between place, and then in the vision, the oil starts to come
that hits
over
my
our
spirit like big time.
The oil starts to come over our feet, and then this limo shows up, and Jesus is in the limo, and he opens the door and is like, "Hey guys, you ready?" And it's like, all right, and we go into this limo. And so, but it was like, wow, if there was even more confirmation, here it is. And that's the sense of you are in the between place. Like, it's right there. And so it just confirms, I think, everywhere else that you're suspended. You're just waiting for the wings to pop out. You're just waiting
on your boat.
So
you can fly.
You're standing on the sidewalk, and you're just standing there as this parade has been going on, and now you're in that between place where the band's going, but here comes this limo, but the oil comes first. And so it was just like, wow, this is amazing. So that's really the heart of what's been happening is just being in this
to this very day of filming this video.
Yeah. Just being in the between place. And
my favorite book.
And just
I wrote some books once.
Yes.
And one of my favorite books was called The Between that I wrote. It was very cool. You can buy those on Amazon, by the way. If you look up Devin LaVore, see my books that I wrote. They're just sketches. They're dry bones. I published some dry bones. I published some ideas.
Yes.
Some very, very carefully well thought out ideas. But they need some work.
Yeah, which is part of what we're going to go into.
Part of the animals,
yes.
That we're feeding. But, well, we're actually not feeding those yet, are we? Well, we kind of are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But those are like tegus, though. They're kind of in hibernation right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Burmation.
Yeah.
That's what they call it when they're reptiles. They're Burmating.
Yeah.
But the Between, the second book I wrote, that's my favorite. So.
Yes.
Best idea ever. Until you read the next one, then that's the best idea ever. No, I'm just kidding.
But so we're that's kind of exactly where we're at right now. We're just
kind of exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
It's almost perfectly where we're at.
But
that's precisely about where we're at. That's funny.
Yes.
I love it. You got any more of those? Just
I'm sure.
Around? You're a Santa bag full of that stuff, man.
I am.
You're just, I love it. Don't change. Don't change.
So, anyway, hopefully you guys are just blessed in that, just that you can take from this and that God would just show you where He has you. I do pray that you continue to just feed the dreams and visions that He's given you. And if you're like us and you're just kind of in this waiting between place, I pray that you continue to just
keep believing.
Yes.
Like that little short video I put out. Don't stop believing. Keep believing.
Keep believing.
Keep going.
Don't start cutting anything out. Just know that what God has for you, what He's planned, what He has purposed for your life is good. And
will not fail.
And to keep going, keep pursuing Him. So
you will not be put to shame. Amen?
Amen.
You will not be put to shame. Did I do that in a video already?
I don't know.
Or I did. I think I read that, yeah. Where the Lord was like, people would be saying, look what you believed in the Lord. It's like, no. It's like, whoa, you believed in the Lord. Yeah. Yes?
You were right about you already did a video about that.
Okay.
That's why he put his thumb up. And he was like,
Isaiah's just like, hey, I have something to say. You already did a video. I know you did, because I was awake when you did it. Basically. It's like, thank you, Isaiah, for being up at 10:54. Okay.
All right. So
that's why our sleep schedule is so jacked up.
So anyway, I just pray that you guys are blessed, and until next time, we will see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.